Look at this. Somebody come look at this. Look at this. Somebody come and look at this.
Hey, shalom and blessings, family. I hope everybody's doing well today. See, we got about 2 people in the room. I'm going to just wait until we get at least 10 people in here before I actually start up. In the meantime, I'm going to just be doing a couple of searches before I start speaking. So I'm going to talk about some things that we already touched on before, but because we know we got new subscribers and we got new people coming into the room, I thought it would be a good idea just to do a little recap on some of the things that we believe. So hold on tight while I dig up a few things here. I'll go to this one. A couple of sites I want to go to here. Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah. Be sure I got 100%. Okay. 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 All right. How's everybody doing? Shalom and blessings. Shalom and blessings. Hope everybody's doing well. So, I wanted to do a quick hitter on what is a Gentile. For those that's participating in the room, let me ask you guys first. What is a Gentile? If any of you guys can answer, what is a Gentile? According to your knowledge, your understanding. Anybody that can answer, go ahead and answer. I want to find out what the understanding is. What's the concessions? What's the consensus? Anyone other than a Jew? All right. What is a Gentile? That's the question. That's a question for everybody in the room. What is a Gentile? Obadiah says it's anyone that's a Jew. That's not a Jew. Anyone other than a Jew. All right. Robert Jordan says it means nations. Okay. Sarita Hebrew says a Gentile is a non-Israelite. Okay. People that are not in the covenant with the Most High. People that are not in the covenant with the Most High. Shalom and blessings, Marcella. Mitchell, how you doing? What is a Gentile? The question is, what is a Gentile? So we got a couple of answers. About 3 people answered. Usually non-Israelite. Okay. So we got 4 answers. That's good enough. Let me ask another question, and you put a 1 for no, put a 2 for yes. Is there anything in the definitions or in the scriptures that might imply that Gentiles can be more than just non-Israelites or non-Jews? Is there anything in the scriptures or definitions of the word Gentiles that might imply that Israelites can be a part of that labeling? A 1 for no, a 2 for yes. Is there anything in the scriptures that might imply that there are Israelites that could be called Gentiles? in the scriptures or in any definitions, biblical definitions, that is. Okay. Sharita Hebrew says no. Stanley Collins says yes. Okay. Okay. So we got a lot of yeses. 2 Greek conversions. Yes. All right. So let me share my screen real quick. All right. Because an issue that comes up with the word Gentile is also a similar issue when we start talking about salvation. All right. For salt of the earth, we defer back to what people will call the quote unquote Old Testament. We don't refer to it as the Old Testament. We refer to it as the laws, the Psalms, and the prophets. There's other people that may refer to it similarly. Right. But let's take a look at the definition of Gentile real quick. To see what definitions we pull up. Because there are several definitions of Gentile, which would imply that circumstances may dictate whether or not one is a Gentile or not. Right? So let's take a look here. So I'm sharing my E-Sword with you, brothers and sisters. And as you can see, put a 1 up if you can see me sharing the screen. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I'm sharing it. That's good. All right, so I'm gonna solo this out here. All right. And let's take a look at some things. Let's look at the word Gentile. Let's look it up in the E-Sword. Gentile. Sorry, I have a cat block on there. Gentile. All right, so with the singular form, right? Not plural, but with the word Gentile, we pull up 2 verses within the New Testament. Romans 2:9 and Romans 2:10. These are the 2 places that you find the singular form, Gentile. All right. Now, let's look at the definition of this word. All right, so into the E-Sword, and let's take a look at the word Gentile. What does it mean in those 2 verses that we see? We see one, it says Helen, and it says from the Greek 1671, a Hellen, Grecian, or inhabitant of Hellas, by extension, a Greek-speaking person, especially a non-Jew, Gentile, Greek. So it says right here that a Hellen or Grecian or inhabitant of a Hella is by extension a Greek-speaking person, especially a non-Jew, Gentile, Greek. Right? So that's what we got right there for that verse, for Romans 2:9. Right? Now let's go back and see which other one we have here. That was Romans 2:9. And we have another one in Romans 2:10. Let's see if this differs by any means. All right, so we got the same definition here. The Greek 1672, which is derived from the Greek 1671, Hellas, right? Now, that's what we got on the singular form of the word Gentile. Now let's go to the plural. Let's say Gentiles. All right, so the first time we see the word Gentile being used in the Bible is in Genesis 10:5. And it says this. It says, by these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families, in their nations. All right. So let's take a look at the definition of this one. All right. So it says goy, goy, by apparently from the same root as the Hebrew 1465, in the sense of massing a foreign nation, hence a Gentile. Also figuratively a troop of animals or a flight of locusts. Gentile, heathen, nation, people. All right, so here you have a little bit more information here. It says Gentile, heathen, nation, people. What that means is all four of these can be used synonymously. All right. So someone has said early on that the word Gentile meant nation. And I would have to agree with you just based off of this definition here. I would have to agree. Gentile, heathen, nation, people. All right. Let me see what the Brown Jarvis Briggs says on the word Gentile. So, one, nation, people, that's in the noun masculine. And this is from the Hebrew 1471. And it says, a nation, a people, usually of a non-Hebrew people. So it said usually. So this is not a definitive answer right here. It's saying usually a non-Hebrew people. And then it says of descendants of Abraham. So that's saying that descendants of Abraham could be called Gentiles. And then it says of Israel. So it says also, according to the Brown Jarvis Briggs definition, the Brown Jarvis Briggs is saying that in Israel, light can also be referred to as a Gentile. Let's take a look at another definition. Let's go into Gentile right here. And I'll show you why this is important right here. All right, so it says Gentile. And it says this is a religious designation of it. It says Gentile, person who is not Jewish. The word stems from the Hebrew term goy, which means a nation. All right, so straight up and down, the word Gentile means a nation and was applied to both. And here it goes. It said, and was applied both to the Hebrews and to any other nation. So this confirms what the Brown Jarvis Briggs was saying as far as Abraham's seed being called Gentiles because they were Hebrews. It says the plural goyim, especially with the definitive article ha-goyim, the nations, meant nations of the world that were not Hebrew. All right. So that's what ha-goyim meant. Nations of the world that were not Hebrew. And it says the Latin version of the Bible translation goyim as gents, singular gents or Gentiles, an adjectival form of gens. In modern usage, Gentile applies to a single individual, although occasionally in the English translation of the Bible, the Gentiles means the nations. In post-biblical Hebrew, goy came to mean an individual non-Jew rather than a nation, because most non-Jews in the Western world were Christians. Now let's stop right there. So according to the Encyclopedia Britannica, the definition of Gentile, which states Gentiles are non-Jews, is a post-biblical definition. That means that this definition came about after the Bible was wrote. This definition came about after the scriptures were were basically compiled together. This is post-biblical, not pre-biblical. So what that tells you is that when you see Paul say Gentile, or anybody in the Bible say the word Gentile, it doesn't necessarily mean the same as what this would mean. Non-Jew. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It says because most non-Jews in the Western world. So this is not even based off of, people within that geographical area of what they were saying. This is based off of what Jews in the Western world were calling themselves. Right? It says because most non-Jews in the Western world were Christians, Gentile came to be equated with Christians. Strictly speaking, however, any non-Jew is a Gentile. You can't go back and say that. What was the need of putting this out there when we got the Brown Jarvis Briggs saying that Israelites could be called Jews? You got the Encyclopedia Britannica saying this is a post-biblical definition when you say non-Jew. Post-biblical. That means after the Bible was written. So, if we understand what the Bible is, if we understand why it was compiled, if we understand the nations, the main players within the book, if we understand the recipients of salvation, right? Who are the recipients of salvation, right? Because I find it a bit strange that the Bible says that Ephraim will become a multitude of nations, and the definition of Gentiles includes nations. But when we talk to people concerning the New Testament, it seems like every Gentile that they speak of in the quote unquote New Testament is a non-Israelite. Then my question would have to be, what happened to Ephraim? What happened to the Northern Kingdom? How are we dealing with a full understanding of historical biblical background when we just completely erase the fact that there were Israelites scattered throughout all the nations? What does the prophecy say? When you start turning Israelites or turning Gentiles into people that they're not supposed to be, because let's be honest, Gentile don't apply to any one particular nation. But when you start saying Gentile is this nation only, that nation only, this nation only, you're doing something now. You're doing what we call supersessionism. You're doing what we call replacement theology. Because now you taking the Israelites that were supposed to fulfill these prophecies that we're reading about in the New Testament, and you're saying they apply to another people. And that's the reason why we have situations with Christians going on today where they would believe that they're spiritual Israelites, or that God has done away with Israel and now he's dealing with Christians. Anybody that believes in the all-powerful God can't really believe that, because if he lied to the people that he made all these promises to, which is Israel, what makes you think that he's going to hold up his end of the bargain with you? Because he promised Israel something. He promised, let's see what he promised Israel. Let's see what he promised Israel. All right, because if he didn't hold up his bargain with them, then what makes you think that you're so special? What makes you think that you're so special despite the Most High saying that you're a drop in the bucket, that you're like spittle, that you're nothing to him, according to the Bible? But let's take a look real quick. What do Israelites supposed to get? All right, so, and I'm sure everybody's familiar with this scripture, but just so we confirm this through the Most High's word and not our own, right? let's take a look. What is a Gentile? Or what did Israelites supposed to get? What were we supposed to get? He says, for I could wish myself were a curse from Christ, for my brethren, for my kinsmen, according to the flesh. This is Romans 9. Moving on to 9 and 4. I just read 9 and 3. Who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption? Right? That means the Most High chose a people and severed the people and made a covenant with those people to be his. He adopted us as his children. He didn't do that with everybody. Deuteronomy 7 and 6 says, for thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So there's a clear differentiation. The adoption, the glory. We know God gives his glory to no one, but he said the glory. The glory, that means we'll be glorified with our Father. It's the same as the scripture saying that they should bow down their face to the ground, to our feet, and lick up the dust. The covenants, not just the covenant, the covenants. Which covenants is he talking about? What covenants is Paul talking about? Because it seems that when we start talking about the Old Testament and the covenant, they said the old covenant, well, that was Israel. The new covenants now is these people. The covenants, plural. And the giving of the law, right? We were supposed to uphold the standard, the Most High's ways, laws, statutes, and commandments. We were supposed to be the ambassadors of the Most High going throughout the earth, teaching people of his ways, right? And the services of the Most High and the promises. So did the Most High change his mind? Did he break his promise? It said the promises. When the Most High make a promise, it's not like a man's making a promise. This is not an ordinary man saying, I promise. So all these things were included on top of promises that the Most High made. So you mean to tell me that you, as a person, as a Christian, believes that the Most High forfeited all of this to Israel and he's going to give it to you? Do you really believe that? You can't believe that, because you know what? Only Satan would do something like that. Only the deceiver would do something like that. Would make a promise to a people, punish the people for not keeping the standard, and break his promise. The scriptures say that, yes, Israel fell. But the Most High didn't abandon them. The Most High never abandoned Israel. In fact, our captivity today is for our own good. It's for our own learning. It's so that we can pass down what we've seen, what we suffered, what we witnessed to our children when they're living in the land of milk and honey, so that they will remember what the Most High brought us through. The word Gentile. We've seen in Romans that a Gentile could be a Grecian. I don't have, let me see if I can read this out of, I'm going to read it out of what dictionary is this? Let me see. I'm going to get up real quick. This is, what dictionary is that I'm reading from? Wish I had the book somewhere around here. Is my book out here? My dictionary? I thought my dictionary was over here on the book stand. Thought it was. It was not. I thought it was over there, but that's not it. That's Eusebius. Definition of Gentile. Well, I'm gonna have to delve a little bit more deeper into it. But we do have past lessons that we've dug up and that we've shared concerning the definition of the word Gentile. That's it right there. Thank you. Yeah, this is from the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. Now, it said in Romans, let me go back to Romans here. Okay. Romans 2:9, and the definition of Gentile there. Definition of Gentile. Okay, it says Helen. Now, it says Helen, Grecian, or inhabitants of Hellas. All right, so this is what I want to look up. I want to look up Grecian. What is a Grecian? Let's see if I can look that up real quick. Okay. Okay, so according to the Zondervan's Pictorial Bible Dictionary, it says Grecia, Grecian. Grecia is Greece, the home of the Hellenes. Greeks and Grecians, however, are to be distinguished. Greeks are generally those of the Hellenic race. Then it says in Acts 16:1, 18:4, and probably John 12:20. It says, but the word may be used to indicate non-Jews, foreigners, and aliens. And then it has Romans 1:16. It says Grecians were Greek-speaking Jews, folks of the dispersion from areas predominantly Greek. Right? So according to the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, Grecians were Greek-speaking Jews, folks of the dispersion from areas predominantly in Greek, and it has Acts 6:1 and 9:29. It says Greece is to be associated island group form SC ends of Southern Europe. Okay. It says Helen. Let me see what a Helen is. What is a Helen? Okay. A Helen. Hellenist. It says a Hellenist is a non-Greek who spoke Greek, a term used specifically of Jews who made Greek their tongue and with it often adopted Greek ideas and practices. And then it says Acts 6:1 again, 9 and 29. It says the KJV has Grecians and the RSV has Hellenists. So what's kind of confusing is this. You have Grecian in the parentheses here. So that means whatever this definition is talking about, it's including Greek-speaking Jews. But then it says especially non-Jews. So that's pretty confusing, right? That you have Grecian there, and then you have Helen, which is in Hellenist, but you're saying especially non-Jews when Hellenists and Grecians are both Greek-speaking Jews. But this is what I want to say in the end. Look, when we apply the word Gentile, it can't be just based off of us seeing the word. It's got to be. It's got to have more understanding behind it. You have to have a background and the understanding of the prophecy, because we understand that the prophecies that pertain to Israel and no one else. So if you're reading about a prophecy in the New Testament, and it's a prophecy that was supposed to be fulfilled within the parameters of Israel, and it says Gentile, then it's talking about Israelites. But with that being said, this has been your brother Bunya, hitting you with another quick hitter. With that being said, I just want to say walk in faith, walk in grace, and walk in obedience, Israel. It's your brother Bunya signing out. Shalom and blessings.